Hello!
Hello!
Welcome to Literarily Wasted. It is May. It is the end of May. It is May 29th. And we are here to discuss The Fox Wife. Brandy, you're still muted, but hello!
Hello!
Brandy's our special guest for tonight. Check out her cool room. Look at that. So cool.
Yeah, so much stuff.
I like it. Don't look at ours. It's book club night. Let's see who's here. Giggles and Christopher and Stacy and Tammy and Bethany and Tim. Hi, Natalie. She's back. And Julie and Carrie and Kathy and Brenda and Tiffany and Jeff and Katie and Kent and Missy and Anna and Bethany and Brenda and Giggles again. Hi, Jeff and Willa and Bethany and Kathy, and that's it for the comments. Woohoo! Oh, and StreamYard has a new feature that we're gonna try out. I don't know how it looks. I don't know how it's gonna look. This is the first time we've done this. They've just rolled out the beta for this in the past 2 weeks, sometime between the last discussion and now. So I can put all the comments on the stage.
But very small.
They're very small. I don't know what to do about it.
They're gray?
They're gray?
Yeah.
It just seems to be a gray block right now.
Well, there are some people having trouble watching on Facebook.
Say what?
I know Kathy is. She posted on Discord too.
Are we live? Are you on Facebook? Can you see us? What's going on?
And some people said they're fine.
So Bear's here!
Oh, hey, it's been a minute.
Whoa, hello. I'm going to put your comment on the screen.
Now it's on the screen twice.
Now it's on twice because it's in we. It's in we at the bottom there. They need to work on maybe their design of that. What else? Who else is back? Where was it? Natalie, back. Welcome back. Welcome back. So is it not working on Facebook? Tiffany says I am on Facebook and I can see. Not that I can do anything about it.
Yeah. And remember that you can also stream on YouTube. It might work better for you.
Yeah, you can watch it on YouTube as well. You can comment on Facebook. You can watch on YouTube. You can comment on YouTube. You can comment on Facebook. You can do both. If you can double dip. So I'm sorry if there are any issues, technically.
Yeah. And if you're having issues, you probably didn't hear any of our troubleshooting. So
yeah. Well, look at that comment stream coming in tiny. Owen immediately said, Benny, when he saw us.
Aww.
He'll be here soon.
He'll be here in a minute.
Okay, so if you find us on YouTube, we're here. If you find us on Facebook, we're here. Let's talk about The Fox Wife.
Yes.
Usually we just do a general first impression. So let's do that, and we'll start with Brandy.
I really enjoyed the book. I was really into it. It was giving Memoirs of a Geisha vibes for me. And then at the end, I felt like it just kind of fizzled out a little bit.
I can see that.
Yeah.
What'd you think, Christy?
I liked it also. We're gonna have a lot to talk about. I think there are some things that I would have done differently, but I really enjoyed reading it, and I really loved the story and the characters, and I love all the mythology and stuff. It was really pleasant. It's also such a different I guess feeling in this book than most of the books I've been reading. Most of the books I feel like I've been reading lately have been fast paced and much harsher. And this one is it's just really I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but almost go with the flow-ish.
It was poetic a little bit.
Yeah. And it was a nice change of pace.
Yeah.
Nicole says, guys, I'm here. I didn't finish. Please spoil it for me so I don't have to. No problem.
We will.
Gotcha. Yeah, we have some people saying that they struggled to finish. Read it on audio. Natalie read it on audio. Have no clue how to spell any of the names.
That's fair.
So we'll see. You take your best guess on how to type that. Stacy struggled to finish, wanted to DNF. Kathy didn't love it, but glad I read it. This book made me slow down.
Yeah. I mean, which isn't necessarily a bad thing.
So on the whole, I liked it. That's my tomato meter rating, is it's certified fresh. I did have some like struggles with it, mostly just in terms of pacing.
Mm-hmm.
And that, having a really hard time like getting into it and like kind of wishing that it would move forward just a little bit quicker. But then towards the end, I felt like it picked up and it hooked me, which is a good thing because I read about 40% of this book this morning between the hours of 8 and 12.
Yeah, you got to stop doing that.
What a rush.
How much of it did you read yesterday?
But yeah, those are my thoughts. And I overall, I really enjoyed it. It's a good mix of kind of sort of two different forms of storytelling. And I just had some issues with pacing.
Go up.
Which one?
Up.
Which one?
Go up.
You go.
There we go.
I really like this one. It was refreshing for murder mystery story, murderish mystery. Whodunit was not a question, but rather the main character's emotional personal journeys. Yeah.
Yeah. It starts as a like murder mystery, kind of, but wasn't really important. It was just like the motivation, and I thought that was a really interesting way to use that.
Yeah. So we have like I said, we have two kind of different stories here. We have Snow's story, which is told in first person, and then we have Bao's story, which is told in third person.
A lot of people had strong opinions about that.
which was kind of jarring, I think, a little bit. It was like, but I think intentionally so.
Yeah. Well, something that's kind of funny. I didn't notice. Apparently, that's not something I pay attention to at all. He told me that, and I was like, "Cool." Yeah. I finished the book. I was like, I didn't realize that at all. But let's see. Carrie asked, like, why did the author do it that way? And Julie and Jeff came through with some really good takes, I thought, on it. Julie said, for most of Snow's portion of the story, it's a retelling of past events, and it is told from her voice, perhaps to give a voice to a strong female character in a society where women have little to no say in the events that drive their lives. Bao's perspective is his now, and he is playing catch-up following Snow's trail, and he is not the primary persona driving the events of the story. So his story is told in third person. Jeff said, I think it was a way for the author to indicate that this is at the core Snow's story, but the Bao story is critical to the overall narrative, and Snow could not know his backstory up until the point they meet. Changing perspectives allowed the reader to separate those things in their minds, even if it was just a subconscious thing. He said, I thought the approach was particularly effective and never threw me out of the story, kind of like watching a documentary where the main subject of the doc tells their story from the first person point of view, while the other details are filled in by the doc producers in third person.
Well, for me, it was, I didn't go that deep with my analysis. For me, it was like, we have two different stories. And if they're both told in first person, then you just have I, and you don't know. Mm-hmm. It's confusing. That was as deep as I got with that. Because then, I think if you're switching back and forth, maybe you get used to it, but maybe you have a hard time.
Well, maybe it was supposed to be so you could differentiate like whose story you're getting at the time. But like, I had a really hard time with that, like figuring out every time it switched perspectives, like who am I hearing from right now?
I didn't have I mean, it was basically flip-flopping chapters, but
it wasn't though. It's like within chapters too.
what?
Was it?
Wasn't it?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so. I think it just swapped.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was just a flip-flopping chapters. Now, within chapters, they've played with time. They've jumped back and forth in time. That was a little confusing to me because sometimes I didn't clock when we came back, because he would, like, within maybe like the same paragraph, he'd be like, I was 5 years old and this happened. And so when the old woman finished talking in the present, I'm like, oh, we're back now. Okay. Yeah, I think the perspectives that to me was fascinating, and I didn't necessarily try to figure out why. I was like, why is this way? But it was I enjoyed seeing things from Snow's sort of subjective POV, as opposed to Bao's maybe third person.
Well, and they have such a different perspective. Snow has been around for a long time and is literally a fox. She's not human. Like everything. I mean, she has just so much experience and so much life.
Yeah, a lot going on.
Yeah, and Bao, I really liked Bao's story though. I liked his hunt and I liked his backstory. I found all of that really fascinating, and I was so curious. I was invested in finding out what his nursemaid was like trying to get rid of. The word that he couldn't remember.
The thing?
Yeah.
There were some really good, I would say, reveals in this book. I think the pacing. So I complained about the pacing, just because, and I will like put an asterisk by this, and that I'm trying to cram the book. So
yeah,
it's not an ideal slower pace when you're trying to finish by a certain time. Even, depending on, like, doesn't matter. But I will say the pacing did allow those reveals to be impactful. When you find out who Tagta is in the present, and you find out like the shadow thing, the fill in the blank shadow thing. It was like there were moments where I'm reading this book and I'm like, oh yeah. Like, that's good. And I like that. I appreciate that the pacing allowed me to experience it that way. I just wish I had started the book sooner. Man, y'all are coming in hot with these comments. Let's see. Here's the description of things and places. One example is how she describes Bao's waking up when the sky was deep purple, that if it had a sound, it would have the sound of a bell from his childhood home. Yeah.
Yeah. It was really beautiful writing.
Yeah. The writing was pleasant. It was beautiful. It was nice. I
like the pacing. I know it's slower than what I've been reading lately, but like I enjoyed the pacing. My biggest criticism is that I felt like sometimes the author got a bit repetitive. Like we heard the same bit of a story multiple times.
Yeah.
And that I got frustrated with that a little bit, but then finally, like, she moved on and was able to elaborate more.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. And it felt a little bit like that scene from Monty Python in the Search for the Holy Grail, where he's like
he's running.
Yeah.
You knew exactly. Yeah. I love that.
But then it got there, and then you're like, yeah.
The thing that took me out was where she said the first rule of foxes is you don't talk about foxes, and I was like,
yeah.
They're talking about foxes a lot.
Yeah. It's really fascinating to me how different Snow and Shiro and Kuro were. Like, especially Shiro is just like a loose cannon, basically. He does whatever he wants, and he doesn't care about the consequences, and he's willing to sacrifice anything and everybody.
Yeah, it was very much nobody's gonna get this reference.
Let's try it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're too far in.
In the original series of Star Trek, there's an episode called Return to Tomorrow, where these three entities take over Kirk, Spock and Dr. Mulhall,
Mhm.
played by Dr. Pulaski from The Next Generation. And they also had like a very similar dynamic between the three of them. Risk.
Okay.
Risk is our business. That is that episode. Anyway.
Cool.
See, I told you. You forced me.
Yeah, no, you're
sure
right.
somebody
I should
got it.
let it go.
Somebody got it.
But yeah, I thought that the Fox personalities were fascinating, and it, you know, it was like we got like just enough of sort of foxhood for this particular story, with maybe a few snippets of like, oh yeah, it was like that time we overthrew the whatever dynasty. It's like, oh, are we gonna get that?
I do wish we had gotten more of the mischievous side of the foxes in this book. Like we got
Shiro for sure.
Yeah, we got Shiro, and then we did get some of those stories from the past, which were great and usually tragic, but like really fun to read also.
Yeah. And now I will say, so like I think I enjoyed reading. This is interesting that I just thought of. Maybe it's just interesting to me. I enjoyed reading Snow's section more because of the insights and the first person kind of subjective POV. But I like Bao as a character. I just loved him. I just like he was sweet and tragic and like good natured,
and his like superpower was really cool.
But I enjoyed reading Snow's sections. Not that I didn't like Snow, I did. I thought she was a very fascinating character, but like Bao was just so endearing to me. It was like, see my grandpa now.
I mean, yes. I think if you meet him, you can just, what is it, uncle or grandpa?
Yeah. He was just so lovely of a person, and then like the fact that he never lies, and like I knew it was gonna happen. I was rooting for him and Tagta.
They rediscovered each other, and he immediately got stabbed, and I was like, oh my gosh, she's actually gonna do it. She's actually gonna kill him, like right after they have this reunion. And then luckily he didn't die, but man,
yeah,
she had me. I knew he was gonna die. I knew him and Kuro were gonna die.
You mean the author?
Yes. Because it was Bill High that did it. Oh, spoilers.
Spoiler alert.
Okay, I want to talk about Bill High. We never got a resolution, right? They just sent him off to the crazy house.
No resolution.
Right. And like they basically, okay. Was Shiro like feeding on him? Is that why he was seeing the shadows and getting the sickness? Because it happened right after like they met, and then Bohai told Shiro his fears, and then immediately like he started like having those symptoms.
I think he was.
I think he was too, but like they didn't address that, and
they didn't.
And well, Kuro healed Bao, right? But nobody decided to take on this family curse, right? It's just still there. They're still drowning baby girls because they're evil. And like,
I think Tagto was like, no. So they were letting, I don't know, like there was something mentioned about like she didn't agree with it, or somebody didn't agree with it.
Yeah.
I think it might have been.
I think the girls don't matter.
That was very clear throughout the entire book.
Theme, which is heartbreaking.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, that was tough. It was like sort of a tough.
Yeah, Tiffany, and if he gets a little brother, he's still screwed. But like, when was it Tagto, when she had her baby, there was a basin of water to drown the baby if it was a girl.
If they had a girl, yeah.
Yeah.
It was the curse was really fascinating though, and like they didn't even imply like how it happened. Like I'm assuming it's a fox thing, but like they never even alluded to that, did they?
Not really. So. But I think that there's a lot of like sort of, I don't know, I could call it magic, I guess, involved with the foxes that I was really fascinated. Like with mostly what we're reading is historical fiction, except for this fox thing.
Oh, Christopher, I completely missed that the son had 4 daughters.
Yeah. I knew something was said.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. No, I completely missed that. Though that makes me feel a lot better.
But there's a lot of fox magic, and the foxes are they're just magical. They're sort of godly. I don't know, but there's
first of all, they can like them just being around affects people, but then they can also like amplify that.
Yeah, they can control it. They can do the concept of contracts was introduced like late in the game.
You're very late.
It's the first time like Snow tried to like, specifically like speak a contract into existence, and they were like, "You're being reckless because you said like I can give you anything you wish or whatever."
Desire, yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, so there's a formula to this." Somewhat, but there's also just like a bewitching. They bewitch you. They kind of make you hazy, and you try to like Bao knew that they were foxes, but every time he tried to formulate that thought, it would like vanish from his head. So they live long.
Well, yeah, because they're trying to. Well, some of them are trying to do the 1,000-year journey.
Yes, the 1,000-year journey that only foxes could do, because the rest of us, we're not around for that long.
I feel like there's probably other mystical creatures that can also go on that journey, but
it talks about it in the back of the book.
Oh, okay.
But not us, not people.
No, not us.
I think technically, like with like reincarnation and stuff, you can. Like it's a thing of enlightenment.
Yeah, but the fact that Bao is still alive, the curse will be broken. This Bao's gaining balance in his chi. Even a rock can do the 1,000-year journey.
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, I feel like a rock is already mostly enlightened.
We all kind of strive to be rock-like.
Yeah, right? I mean, don't you?
Every day.
Yeah, it like in the back in the notes it goes over the 1,000-year journey and stuff.
But yeah, but the fox magic, I think, but the shadows is not a result of fox magic. That's
your chi.
That's your balance,
out of balance,
which I think is interesting, because there's also some of these other sort of mystical elements at play that aren't even fox related. Foxes can just kind of manipulate it, but it helps that they're super good looking.
Yes. Yeah.
And I thought it was interesting that the scar was such a bad thing, because it makes you instantly recognizable.
Well, yeah, Snow saw the scar and was like, "Oh crap, like he's not going to last long." But even Bao elaborated on it, like he's not going to be able to run and hide, because like that's such a distinguishable characteristic.
Yeah. We found out how he got the scar, right? He got the scar killing the first guy.
Killing the hunter.
The hunter. That's right. I just read that.
You did. Like earlier today.
So yeah, we got this detective story in the middle of this. Like, we got this revenge story on one hand, and we got this detective story on the other hand.
The detective story was so fascinating to me, because like that would be so hard to do at that time. Is like especially with the information that he had. There's a concubine that was like from a month ago, so just a brief description of her, and then like go figure it out. Like that's it. That's all he had, and like he was just like guessing, but they were really good guesses. And like, what, photography had just come on the scene.
Oh yeah, it's a new thing.
Yeah. I don't know. I was thinking about that. Like, what he's doing is basically magic anyways. Like, not the truth thing, but like actually being a detective at this point and actually being successful at it.
I loved getting a detective story in this environment. Like, I really enjoyed that aspect of it. And I think it was a little bit frustrating, because sometimes I felt like we knew how far behind he was because we were getting Snow's story. And I think that's what maybe contributed to my just like get there.
Well, yeah, he even commented like when Snow and her group went to Japan, he's like, he just got to Mukden. Like when is he going to go to Japan? That's going to take days.
Fortunately, he didn't have to,
Mm-hmm.
which I was very glad for, that they came back. And that when I saw their paths finally start to converge, I was like, here we go. It's happening.
Yeah, that was really nice. Kathy, I love that. I didn't know that was a thing. But
Yes.
even the softbound has like relatively wide margins, which is kind of neat.
Yeah, I think she also mentioned at the end that she wanted to have just a crap ton of annotations throughout the book. She was like, people don't really like annotations, but
okay, that's true. But if you do them in an interesting way, like it could really, people are into that. Like Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, and there's several examples.
It's satisfying to see the connections between the Bao storyline and the Snow storyline. You knew he would catch up, but watching him put the pieces together is interesting. Yeah, that was interesting. I wanted a more conclusive ending for Chen's death. What happened to Chen?
Maybe Lou?
Maybe Lou. I think it was Lou.
They hinted at that hard. I think Lou just pushed him over.
Yeah, Lou was a bit of a bad guy.
Yeah.
They all kind of.
I mean, Chen was not great.
Well, they were. Well, I don't know. They were being manipulated. They were, but the wealthy, every sort of aristocratic male in this story was just not good. Not a good person.
Bao?
Was he? Well, he had sort of fallen out of that. Bao was living a simple life after his wife died. And he buried her jewelry.
Oh, that story. Like him and his wife made me so sad because she was so proud and so in love, and she was just so in love with their relationship, and he was just there.
Tell me that story again. How you?
He told the lie.
Yeah,
he told the lie. I was tickled when she described him. Lou was having an expression like a camel's bottom. Yeah, the description in this book was really good. I found myself being like, "Oh, that was really well said." Food poisoning. That was a thing.
Yeah, it didn't really like contribute too much to the story, but
I guess I don't know. I was thinking, oh, this is a device to get him to the medicine shop.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I like this that Christopher said.
The vague ending for Bao's side of the story is mainly because we were getting the conclusion from Snow, who left with Kuro, so doesn't actually know how it all ended.
You could say the same for Bohai.
Yeah.
And Snow was pretty selfish. I mean, I think that's just a Fox thing.
It's a Fox thing.
But it makes sense. It makes sense that they wouldn't conclude everything.
But we had, like Mr. Chen, that guy was a jerk. Mr. Wang.
Mr.
Wang?
Also a jerk.
Chen's dad, is that who you're talking about?
Yeah, Chen's dad.
Yeah, but he just lost his son and he was pretty sure it was murder. And it was his third son, and he still cared. So I was actually pretty happy about that.
But he had Bao there, who was like, she's telling the truth, and he was like, off with her.
But they explained why he did that. He thought that she might be pregnant, and that so he could get a grandson or a grandchild.
Even in the early 1900s, who has just a jail cell in his house?
Apparently, multiple people, because the Wang estate had. It wasn't a jail cell, but it was a room that could be locked and not left from the inside. Unless you're a fox.
Just a fox thing.
Yeah.
Here's somebody we haven't talked about yet. Baek to
Nikon.
The photographer.
Yeah, Baek to Nikon.
Who I ended up just kind of calling the MacGuffin, really, because ultimately, it was initially about him. He was just kind of the device that made the story go.
It was her whole motivation, and it's the whole reason any of this happened, at least for Snow's participation.
It was, but then it sort of diluted itself.
It did.
In her mind, like from her perspective, she's like, do I really want to?
Well, she had the chance and she didn't do it.
She didn't.
She hesitated.
Which
she should have.
I appreciated the character development, but I kind of wish she had killed him.
Right?
Yeah, I wanted her to have that.
Yeah.
So he was like, he was the thing. He was the constant among all of these things.
Well, and he
even for Bao.
Yeah, he took the picture, the group picture of the concubine too, that wasn't published, and that's why Bao was after him in the first place.
Yeah.
And he had the blackmail on the others.
Which is just a picture of them with a banner, so down with the Empire.
Yeah.
The things that you could. The blackmail was so simple back then.
Yeah.
Poor Photoshop, it's like.
Yeah.
There it is. But this guy who was the motivator for Snow and like this sort of constant for Bao is like, well, I got to find this guy because he's got the picture. There he is. And then it kind of became about something else. So this is I think maybe you can help make this better for me, but like so we everything led to the moment, and then we find out that he died. Back to like he was killed.
Yes. He was killed,
murdered,
yeah.
and then it's like, okay, like I'm looking down at the percentage at the bottom of the thing, and I'm like, we've got some book left. We've got like 30% of the book left, maybe.
I do feel like that's exactly where it starts like snowballing, though.
It's well, like okay, so for
Although
me,
I didn't read it this morning.
It felt like it did snowball, but like at the end of the mountain was like one of these, and then it kind of went.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because then we had the whole business. So he died. They come back on the ship because all the kids are like, "Oh no!
Yeah, we gotta get out of here.
We gotta get out of here because
we don't want to talk to the cops."
Yeah, let's get out. Let's jet. So they go back. Chen falls off the ship magically, mysteriously, and then you have the basically the trial section where Mr. Chen is interrogating and all this stuff and blah blah blah, and then it just kind of keeps going. So, but we got everybody together now. And then it just kind of felt like, what are we doing? To me, at least. Anybody else feel that way? No.
I did at parts. It was just mainly like, okay, now what?
Well, I guess it didn't really seem like there was much of a. So that the whole story is sort of driven by these objectives. Like there's a super objective for each of the characters. And then there wasn't. And I think I was kind of wondering, like, what are we doing now? What are we going for? What's the thing?
What's the motivation?
Yeah. Other than to like survive, which is kind of what it was. Like Bao still was like hired by his former student to
help with the Chen
the Chen thing. Which just so happened to be about all the people that he was looking for. Coincidence? Fox magic? Who knows?
I think coincidences just happen with foxes.
It's in the sequel.
Yeah.
It was interesting when their stories intertwined and they all needed each other to save some. Yes, I agree with that. Was definitively stated who murdered Baektu. Was it Lou?
Was it Lou? I think it was. I think they said Lou as well.
They did say Lou because Chen bought the picture.
Yes.
And then I think Lou came behind and murdered.
That's what it sounded like.
Okay, here we go.
They were the two that had the most at stake.
Yeah.
I got to see over this comment. The revolutionary subplot fizzled because Shiro had to get away as things were getting dangerous. Shiro wasn't actually trying to start a revolution. He could not have cared less what actually happened. He was just trying to stir up trouble and see where he could profit. Shen's murder was the result of the chaos that ensues when three foxes converge on humans. So it was a consequence of the story rather than a plot driver. Same for Baekdu's murder. The events didn't go as Snow planned because... so definitely chaos ensuing when three foxes converge on humans. A lot of madness, a lot of people acting rashly, from Bohai to the woman that was like madly in love with Shiro.
Oh, Kathy's asking about the dead girl. It was that, oh shoot, he came across that family who they were like, the sister was like, oh, she ran off with this handsome guy, but it ended up being like a pimp. And so that was her. I can't remember her name though.
Her name was like Lang or something like that.
It was, I think it started with an F or something.
Fang. It was Fang.
Fang, yes.
And we're pretty sure that it was Shiro that killed.
That's what it sounded like.
Yeah.
Shiro was just messing with people and taking their
chi.
Yes.
Whoa!
Oh, sorry.
Scared
Bless
me.
you.
Thank you.
Because of chaos surrounding me. So yeah, I mean, it definitely kind of it came to a head, but like a long head. What is it? I don't like that.
No.
Because you had the trial, you had the injury, the stabbings, the burning of the house down.
Yeah.
The injuries, the rescue from injury, the escape, the healing of Bao, the healing of Kuro. He didn't kill them per se. He just pleasured them to death.
Yeah.
Because they died happy.
Mm-hmm. They did.
What a way to go.
Mm-hmm.
Shiro. But Shiro was a fascinating character. You know, it's like just it's kind of a contrast between him and Kuro.
Oh yeah.
Like one very stoic, the other very like reckless and loose.
Very yin and yang.
Yeah. And then you had Snow in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a mixture of both.
Mm-hmm.
And Snow's, I actually found Snow's. I enjoyed. I think one of the reasons that I enjoyed Snow's chapters is because it was told in a more of a modern sort of timeless way, I guess. Like I felt like this could have been like a contemporary person talking about their time in that time, whereas Bao's sections were very sort of, they felt old fashioned, and they felt like the way that everybody spoke was very sort of like old fashioned and formal, and then you had Snow's sections, which was very colloquial, but in kind of a modern way. There were comedic asides. There were like, you know, like that sort of stuff, and that it was just a different feeling between the two of them. One felt sort of loose and now, and the other one felt kind of the time, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Julie says it was very drawn to Snow's rage. Yeah. That was Snow's story was a tough one.
Yeah.
It
was a tough thing to continually kind of relive with her
over and over and over
the
again.
motivation for her whole motivation for why she was doing what she's doing. not only why she's doing what she's doing, but like what her relationship with Kuro was, and like why she decided, or like, you know, made the decision to like never see him again or whatever. Like it was all related. Like this was sort of the thing.
Kuro's like hand in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was just a really like. So on the one hand, you had Snow's rage for what happened to her baby, and on the other hand, you had Bao's, I would say, regret. There's a little bit of regret, a little bit of like wistfulness, a little bit of like the one who got away, sort of unfulfilled love that he had just kind of accepted, I guess. But did he?
I mean, even if he had caught her carriage, like nothing could have come of it. Like I don't think even boys get to control their future and their relationships.
Yeah. No, I mean, it was a very sort of tragic and inevitable ending to that story, which is still sad.
Yeah.
Like, but you see this man who kind of has always been second place. You know, he had an older brother that was like the champion, the
well, in his
public office or whatever.
His chi imbalance made it to where he
was unlucky.
Failed tests also.
Yeah.
So he like performed really poorly on the test he needed to ace.
So what's the person?
So he wanted a fox pelt, and then the hunter went and got the fox, and it was a cub, so it wasn't like he got paid less. So it was the hunter that did it,
and they didn't kill it, but they did basically
maim it,
broke all its legs.
Yeah, they heard it, and then like
awful, and then that girl
gave it to the girl.
Fang's sister was the one who took care of her. You're welcome, Kathy.
That was really hard to read. And like,
I know.
Just yeah.
I mean, you got to sell that motivation, right?
And they did. And, you know, I mentioned at the beginning that my criticism was the repetitiveness. And I think most of the repetitiveness was her
reliving.
Like,
but it was realistic, though.
But yeah, and in hindsight, it makes perfect sense. And the fact that they kept making us relive it with her, I think was really powerful in helping us like feel her motivation and really understand her more.
The fact that like grief shows up when you least expect it. Like it doesn't wait for you. It's just like you'd be looking at something, you're like, oh, yeah. I think that's very relatable, regardless of like what it is. But like, yeah, I think what she was going through, it was difficult and it was tough, but I think, you know, stepping out of that, like I can say kudos to the author for making me feel that. I think it's a sign of a good author to realistically portray something without it being gratuitous and sort of like beat you over the head with it, to make you sympathize and like relate to a character. Like she did a good job. I think we all felt it. I think we were all like deeply affected by Snow's story and her motivation. So you know, looking at it from like a storyteller standpoint, it's like, all right, yeah, you did it. Yeah. We feel now because of you. And I think that's probably the best you can ask for as an author.
Yeah.
So congratulations, you made us sad.
Oh.
But I think
she does talk to book clubs.
Oh, we're gonna see if she'll talk to us. Are you watching right now?
Yeah.
If so,
please comment.
Hi. We're being critical because it's what we do, but we like to. What were we talking about?
How she made us feel things.
Oh yeah, you made us feel things. But like, but also like, you know, you can't have beauty without ugliness, right? So like, and I think that's one of those things that made the reveals so sweet And like certain things that happen in the book so sweet because we were primed for it. Like we saw the darkness, we saw like, you know, the emptiness. So when something becomes full, like we can appreciate it more.
Yeah.
So Snow Story is about dealing with grief. She goes through the stages, and when Baektu dies, she realizes that it didn't make the grief go away. Her ending is basically learning to live again. And I think that's true for Kuro as well.
Yeah.
I would say, is it true for Bao? I don't know. I think that he was going to move there.
He was, yeah.
Yeah.
I want Bao to be happy too.
Yeah.
I want them all to be happy.
I have a feeling that Tagta and Bao are gonna like have some sort of relationship in the future. And Tagta, she earned a certain amount of freedom. Like she still has to like run things by her son and her grandson and stuff, but like she basically ran that medicine shop. Like they really deferred to her, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah. And Bao, he had nothing really. There was nothing holding him down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I just wanted him to be. I was worried that like when they restored his chi, that like he was going to lose his gift.
Oh, that would make sense.
Like I was worried that they were going to bring him in to like tell the truth and the lie. He was going to be like, I couldn't tell, but that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Which I guess in hindsight I'm glad for, because it would have made things complicated, because he was able to determine that Shiro was not poisoned.
Yeah.
That whole thing, that just came out of nowhere for me. Where like where he comes in, he's like, I've been poisoned by this person. And then there was a whole thing.
I think he earned a little bit of torture though.
He did.
Yeah.
He was not a nice person to Snow.
Or to the woman who...
To anybody, really.
Yeah.
To the boys that he like duped into like doing this whole sugar factory thing. What a sleaze. She called him out for it. I love that she just fully like resisted him.
Yeah.
Tagta made me think of Gattaca. Such poetic justice for Shiro. Yeah, he definitely deserved it.
Not only did he get a little tortured, but he also he ended up going with her.
Yeah, she had and they like not just going with her, but like they're probably like still together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
and opening a sugar factory.
Yeah, she's got him tied down, which is great. And I thought that it was funny that like as his influence lessened on her, she like cleared up and became sort of shrewder, like more business minded. He left the other girls. Where I think she got him. I think she's keeping him.
Yeah.
It's funny though that he kind of reminded me of Hoyd a little bit.
I can see that
from the
Trust of the
Emerald Sea and other Brandon Sanderson books, apparently. As just like this person who goes through long stretches of time, just like being a part of things, and like we're getting it from Snow's perspective, and she's like, he once started 3 minor wars. I'm like,
yeah, manipulating stuff for his own gain and entertainment.
It sounds like something you'd say about Hoyd.
Yeah,
we've read a lot of books, so I got I've read a lot of books now, so I make comparisons.
Oh, it's good.
Is it good?
Yeah.
Nice. He was kind of Hoyd like.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was I talking about? What were we talking about?
Shiro. And we were talking about how, like Dilly said, he was basically kidnapped.
Oh, right. Yeah, chaotic evil. Did we ever see them as foxes?
I would argue that some of the times when Snow escaped or was climbing up walls, that was kind of a fox-like, although I guess she didn't lose her clothes.
We saw them do fox-like things.
Yeah.
And I think we would see that, especially through the eyes of Bao, when she like tilt her head, or like,
Mhm.
you know, the way they would do certain things,
Or
like
eating and
Yeah.
or curling up to go to sleep and stuff.
yeah, like she would curl up on the floor, curl up on the bed, but like we never saw them as like in animal form, did we?
Well, no. So they did mention her like getting out of that concubine jail. They mentioned how there were scratch marks on
Mhm.
the wall. I think the only one we saw in fox form was Kuro when he was
Oh yeah, and her story,
giving
yeah,
the chi back
That's
for
right.
giving some to Bao.
right. No, I guess he turned into fox, didn't he, for that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they
Okay.
did mention that.
Yeah, he dreamed of them. Bao had very more like visions instead of dreams. Like he would have dreams that like of things that were straight up happening, like the foxes were there in his dreams. But we never saw them. I think I had expectations early on that they'd be flip flopping back and forth between
Mhm.
forms to do certain things, but that they just kind of stayed human the whole time, mostly in the world, not in dreams, right?
Yeah, I think.
Which I kind of wanted to see more of that, you know, just more like
I would read more of Snow and Kuro and Shiro in this universe.
I'd read more Bao.
Yeah.
I'd read more detective stories. Bao detective stories
Yeah, that would be fun.
in this world
Yeah.
of foxes, because they're not the only foxes,
No.
not the only murders that happen. But I think it's fascinating, just his superpower of being able to tell when people are lying. Just that in itself is like a really great thing. He could be the next cop show, like, you know how it's like so many cop shows that are like, we brought in this specialist who's a loose cannon, but he's got a gift, the mentalist or whatever. That's Bao. Yeah, this is of all the characters I want to read more from Bao. Yeah, I don't know what the Fox's stories would be without sort of a driving motivation.
I'm not sure Shiro and Kuro would be very interesting to read more of unless there was like a big story for them. But I feel like Shiro, did I say Shiro? Snow and Kuro. But Shiro, I could read about him because
he's Hoid.
Yeah.
And he's mischief.
Yeah, he is mischief.
He's Loki.
And I liked that. I didn't love Shiro, but I liked his personality and just how.
But maybe it's too much of a good thing, you know?
Maybe.
Like, you know, when you get the spin-off show that you think you wanted, but you're like, oh, they were better as a side character. Joey.
I knew you were going to say that.
Talking about you, Joey. Don't need all Joey all the time.
Oh, Jay has joined us.
Jay!
Hey.
How is it in the past? Well, you know. You've been there. The question is, how is it in the future? What does tomorrow look like for us all? Well, look, we got 5 minutes left in the thing. We want to sum it up and say what our final thoughts are. This is not a series, right?
This is not a series.
One and done for the first.
Ooh, Tiffany said there's a show on Netflix based on The Ghost Bride by the same author. That's really interesting. And I read The Ghost Bride and it was really fascinating. I don't even know how to describe it. You just have to go look it up.
Just read it.
Yes, it was really interesting.
Jay, not the pollen. So, Ghost Bride is her other well-known. The Foxwife just came out last year, right?
Maybe.
Sounds right.
I don't know. I don't pay attention to that.
It's just fresh out in paperback this year. Although I say this year like it's new. It's already almost June.
Copyright 2024.
Yeah, February.
Yeah, so this is a fresh book. So I guess I'll start with my final thoughts. I think that as always, this discussion has helped me appreciate this book more.
Yeah.
And just talking through it, I think, helps me appreciate the things that I do appreciate that I maybe wasn't able to articulate. I still feel like I had some issues with the pacing, but I think that may be more related to me having to read this book in a short amount of time, and less about like if I had been more of a place where I'm just gonna kind of sit and enjoy it, that would have been different. Also, I would say that I'm really glad that we I'm really glad that we read this, because it's not something that I would have ever picked up for myself to read, and that's the beauty of the book club. Because this book would not have been on my radar at all. Even like as we were like coming up to it, I'm like, am I gonna like this? I'm not gonna read it, and like, because it doesn't have any spaceships in it. But I am glad that we read it. I always enjoy being taken out of my comfort zone, and I think this was rewarding for me. I still had some issues with the pacing, but
yeah, along the same lines, Julie said, this was such a refreshingly different read than what we usually do in the book club. And it definitely was.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and to get two different stories in one book, it's great.
Yeah, I went into today really liking this book, and like I feel like this discussion has made me like it even more.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Right. What about you, Brandy?
I liked it so much. I actually started with the ebook. I bought it, and then I bought the physical, because I really liked it. It was good. Feel good. I like that. The whole world.
It did have a nice happy ending, and I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
Bao didn't die.
Oh yeah, me too.
Whew.
That was a close one.
It was a close one. I did not want him to die either, because that was my man.
Yeah.
So for June, which is our 6-year anniversary month, wasted. We're still here.
We are still here.
We've got, as Carrie says, a bit of whiplash.
Yeah. A very different feel.
The Foxwife to Dungeon Crawler Carl, which I am very excited about. This has been talked up, recommended. Every time I open my Kindle, it's like, read this book.
Yeah, so the club meeting for June is going to be on a Thursday. It's going to be Thursday, June 12th.
Yeah.
But then the live discussion is going to be on Wednesday, June 25th.
So we'll do another Thursday for the club meeting.
Yeah. And then hopefully we can get back to Wednesdays after that.
Yes.
But we can also announce our July book.
What is it?
Our summer shorty. It's Every Heart a Doorway by Shannon McGuire.
Yeah.
Yeah. It won pretty overwhelmingly.
Pretty substantially.
Yeah. So that's
I still might read Finna.
Yeah.
Because they're short. There's summer shorties for July.
You can read more than one. And we had a great suggestion of people with just reading which short book they want to read out of the book poll options, and then we can kind of
Stacy
talk about each one, and you can just kind of chime in for the ones that you read. But we're not doing that this for July. But I would love to do that in the future if people are interested.
Six is people are flying through these things. We're so far behind on this series.
Yeah, we are.
We're gonna have a Dungeon Crawler Carl side quest for those books, apparently, if you like it. If you want, if you like it. But
we can make it happen.
We can make it happen. So Dungeon Crawler Carl, which I think is a good one for our 6-year anniversary. Literally Wasted. And maybe we'll think of some other fun anniversary stuff to do when the brand cloud dissipates.
Does it ever?
No.
That's a great question.
We'll think of something. Maybe we can get the author. I don't know. Miss Choo.
Yay, Choo.
To come hang out with us for a sesh. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. But happy anniversary in advance.
Yeah.
To everybody that is part of this club, wherever you are. We love you. We just recently had a big Memorial Day meetup here in Birmingham, which was really lovely.
That's great.
To see some familiar faces and some new faces. Dan Pham came up.
Yeah. Where is Dan?
Where is Dan? No, he was. I don't think he read this one.
And Stacy.
And Stacy
came
was
in
there
town
too.
too.
Yeah. So it was really good to hang out. But
Yep.
for those of you who are too far, we'll get you next time.
Yeah.
We'll come to you.
I'm getting there.
Come on, Brandy.
Someday.
And a couple of shout outs. Don't forget about Dark Book Club.
Dark Book Club.
Don't forget about Short Story Club. Both of those can be found on Discord.
So yeah, we want to do more Florence. That's not too far. Italy.
I'm in Virginia. So.
You know what?
Virginia.
Yeah.
I would sacrifice and go to a meetup in Florence, Italy.
Yeah. You know,
I would do that for you guys.
Let's go to Italy.
Yeah.
But no, we'll just do like a literally wasted goes on tour.
Yeah.
Where we'll go Virginia.
Tour the places in the books.
We'll go to England. We'll go to Colorado and then up to Portland, and then we'll see all the people.
And then we can go visit Jay.
Go visit Jay in
So
England. Hop across that pond.
Yeah.
I've been meaning to get back there to the UK, to England. But yeah, it was a great time. So yeah, join us on Discord if you're not already there. There's a lot of discussions going on.
All
Literally
the time.
Wasted Lounge.
Great.
You know the drill. You know this by now. Cindy's in Tennessee. All right. So that does it for May. Thank you so much for being a part of this. And we'll see you in a couple of weeks for the club meeting for June on a Thursday, our 6th year
June 12th
anniversary, June 12th. Okay. Well, y'all have a wonderful night and a wonderful time. Get to reading, and we'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.